I think that there is an interesting lesson to be learned from Parshas Vaera that applied, of course, to our ancestors back in Mitzrayim and Egypt, but also applies to us, to many of us today. And that is the following. The Torah says that Hashem will take the Jewish people out of Mitzrayim, and the end of the pasuk says that He will rescue them. Now, common sense would say that first God rescued them and He took them out of Mitzrayim. After all, part of the taking them out of Mitzrayim was the actual rescue that took place. The rescue being all of the 10 Makos, the 10 plagues that Hashem brought on the Mitzrayim, on the Egyptians. Things already started to change before the Jewish people left Mitzrayim. So why is it that the pasuk has the order of the Jewish people's leaving Mitzrayim, followed by God's saving, God's rescuing of the Jewish people? So Rav Ben Zion Uziel explains as follows. He says that the Jewish people could not really comprehend the great moment of rescue because they were so enslaved to Mitzrayim. In other words, when they were slaves, it was impossible for them to understand the value that what God did for them of the rescue. It was only after they were out of Mitzrayim, they were across the shore, they were on the other side, when they were away from the Egyptian border, then they were able to understand, wow, gosh, what Hashem just did for us, for the Jewish people. And we can explain it perhaps through the eyes of a child. A child is born into slavery in Egypt, in Mitzrayim. All that child knows is slavery. The child doesn't know anything about the concept of freedom because the child has never experienced freedom. The child only understands what is in his surroundings, which is his master, and he knows that he is a slave. The child can't even comprehend what it would be like to be free. It's not even in that child's mindset. And so too, the Bnai Yisrael, the Jewish people, when they were in Mitzrayim, they couldn't even think. They couldn't even fathom. They couldn't even understand what it meant to be a free people, what it meant to be rescued. It was only after they were out of the chains of being slaves that they could look back and say, my goodness, that experience, look what wonders God performed for us, that He rescued us from what we were and made us and took us out and made us who we are. And I think that this is something which can apply to us on a regular basis because at different moments in life we all deal with various different trials, tribulations, and challenges. And there are some times that things may get so bad on a personal level that we say to ourselves, it is impossible for me to see myself out of this challenge, out of this difficult period, this difficult time. But the answer is that this time, this difficult moment, this period will too pass. And there'll be a moment that we'll be sitting in a different part of our lives, and we will be able to look back and recognize the fact that we have been rescued, that we've been rescued by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we've been rescued by God, and we are able to look at the next chapter, the next part of our lives, and look forward, while looking back at the same time and learning from the experience. So when we're stuck, sometimes we're stuck in a rut, sometimes we're at a moment where we just can't see any daylight. Let us remember this lesson of the Jewish people in Mitzrayim, and let us remember that there will come a day when we'll be able to turn the page back and look what happened in the past, and remember that we were rescued, we were away from that, and that right now, as we're going through that difficult moment, we know that eventually, please God, with Hashem's help, that day will come. Thank you for listening, and have a good Shabbos.